So I thought I would do the video Rawls contract theory last because this is a really interesting one. And if a student has this contract theory, it's actually a really interesting thought experiment as well. And I've got to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen this theory put into practical practice. So to play with it in class, to see how the students react to it is actually really interesting. So let's get right into it. So John Rawls, he is a philosopher, a modern day philosopher. In fact, he just passed away about, I think 20 years ago. Wow. I'm getting old. So as I was deciding to become a philosophy student myself, he was one of the guys that we would have to read. And he was more on the political philosophy side. How do you build a society with so many people in it, with so many different ideologies? So he came up with what he called the veil of ignorance as a basis for creating a justice system. And that's what you guys are going to use for your theory. So let's talk about what that is. Okay, so for this one, pretend that you are designing a society, but the conditions are you are going to be placed inside of a box. And in this box, you cannot hear or see anything. All you can basically see is the inside of that box. And you can't hear anything, and you can't take the box off. You won't know anyone's circumstances around you, and you won't even know your own circumstances when you leave this box. While you're in the box, though, you have to design a justice system that is going to benefit yourself and everybody around you. So in other words, you're creating a society that is just for everybody, regardless of their circumstances. So what Rawls is wanting you to do is, no matter what ethical system comes your way, everybody would benefit in this situation because you have designed an ethical system that prioritizes the basic liberties for everybody, all the way up to your richest person, to your poorest person, to your highest class, to your lower class. He does leave room in his society for different class systems. Now, this is going to be in contrast to like a Marxist system where they're doing away with the class systems. In this situation, you can maintain your private citizenship, you can maintain your class system, you could have a capitalist system, you could have a socialist system. That type of stuff doesn't matter as much as it doesn't matter in the sense that everybody is treated equally when it comes to just. Now, just or justice, however you want to word it, whatever your system is, in every situation, you're prioritizing the liberty of the person, the advantages of the person, the principles of the person. You're trying to remove as many inequalities as you possibly can. So now what I have for you is I want you guys to look up his website ebook, which I'm going to pull up right now. Now, instead of you guys having to buy your own copy, John Rawls' books appear online. You could, type in Justice as Fairness PDF, and you'll find a handful of copies online. He's well read, so he's well distributed online, and you'll be able to get yourself a free copy. This is my PDF copy that I have my notes in, and I'm going to fast forward through all of my notes just to show you a couple of my highlights. One right here, and this time, so the PDFs aren't always e-reader friendly, and sometimes they're really hard on the eyes, like this one. But what I want to stress to you is what I have highlighted here. The most fundamental idea in all of societies is this idea that it's fair for everybody. Nobody is going to be left out. We're not going to participate in anything that would cause an inequality. So the idea of his is what he calls social cooperation. And this is going to extend time after time after time, generation after generation. And the idea is that you're not in this social contract out of obligation. You are in it out of a need to cooperate with the person next to you, because if you could remove their inequality, that puts them in a position to remove your inequality. And if the two of you are in a position to move two more people's inequality, then now we've got 4 people doing that. And this kind of momentum is what he's talking about in his system of cooperation in a fair society. So let me scooch over to another one here that I have. Let me move myself out of the way. Okay, so for this one, he reiterates this right here. He talks about how there's no better alternative to this, that the agreement between citizens to make sure that we are all on equal footing when it comes to liberty and economics and survivability and to thrive has nothing to do with trying to make us all equal status when it comes to money or private property or homes or religions or beliefs. He understands that we are very diverse in our nature. However, he does stress that when we start our society, we have to start with the idea of the original position. So if you have this one, let me see if I can scoot it over just a little bit. You have this one, and this is the document I have linked for you. Section 6 talks about this the most, the idea of the original position. The original position is where we all start, where we organize our society, we organize ideas. The original position is you inside that box. That's you in the box. So he talks about it over here and what he calls the veil of ignorance. If I have blinders on and I can't see who the people are around me, or even what my own position will be, when I leave this box, I may no longer be a teacher. I may no longer be Professor Perez. I may no longer be a woman. I may be someone completely different. So no matter what I do when I come up with this society, I have to create one that would benefit everybody because I have this veil of ignorance on my eyes. So I don't know who I'm impacting. So whatever I say, do, legislate, or vote, it has to make sure that it impacts everybody, because practically I don't know what the next generation is going to be like, and I don't know what the society wrapped around my kids are even going to be like. So in my time, I have to make sure that I push forward this idea of cooperation and understanding that we all have a fair agreement with each other and that we are all equal in our liberty and our justice, if that can make sense to you guys. So this kind of goes back to Rawls' theory that we have to have a social contract that establishes equality and fairness in all things that we do, in all ethical dilemmas that we do. So as you go through these ethical dilemmas, I would focus on the original position. And as you sift this theory through these ethical dilemmas, how are we best utilizing fairness and justice for all parties involved? Now, he's going to argue in that document you're going to read that obviously not everybody's going to come out equally fair in every dilemma that you're in. That's impractical to think that's ever going to happen. However, there has to be like the due diligence on the part of the person in charge to do their best to make sure there's a best outcome for everybody there. It's almost like each person starts at 0. And if we were to say absolute fairness is a 10, your job is to try to get as close to that 10 as possible for all parties. Now, this party might only reach a 7, this party might only reach a 4, you might actually get a 10 over here, but you in this original position are trying your hardest to do your best to push as far as you can in any ethical dilemma that you have. And you've left no stone unturned to make sure each person is represented with equality and fairness in this situation. So that's what you need to keep in the back of your mind as you read through his documents and you push through your ethical dilemma.